stuff. It's like, if I can do it, you can do it.
Okay. Say go and then give me a couple seconds.
Anytime, what? Yeah, go.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of PSA was kind of an accident. I was working as a CPA full-time. My brother and I talked about starting a company. I had just gotten off a deployment where I was chasing insurgents and roadside bombs as part of Task Force Trailblazer. I got back, started my CPA job again, and was totally bored. I couldn't do it. So my brother and I talked about, hey, and my brother's standing right here. This is my brother, Josiah. So my brother and I were talking about starting a company, and he was working at a shoe store, and I used to joke and call him Al Bundy, and we kind of would laugh about it. And we just talked about it. We said, well, let's go ahead and start a company. And you've always heard that if you work in something you love, you don't work a single day. It's almost like, I mean, it's a dream job, and that's essentially what we started. So Silver State Armory at the time was making 6.8 ammo, and I was a huge fan of the 6.8. So we started Palmetto State Armory, and we're going to try and compete against Silver State on 6.8 ammo, which at the time I thought was the next big thing. It's still a good round, but it didn't turn out to be huge. So we started trying to apply for all the licenses. My brother had quit his job, come on full time. There was no revenue, so there was nothing to support him. We were talking, and he said, well, what can we do? We had the website, we started a website, we had nothing for sale. I said, why don't you call it Magpul and try and get some PMags? So I think through a distributor, not even directly with Magpul, called them up, we put some PMags online. We had Black Dog magazines, Lancer magazines. This is all around the time when Obama had first gotten elected. And we made a ton of money. In fact, I think we made $1 million in 3 months. So it was just kind of like we didn't see it coming. It was perfect timing. We made a ton of money. People were buying, they were buying high cap mags and ammo, which was exactly what they wanted. So we kind of looked into the right things. In fact, we started buying ammo from PMC. It was Magpul P mags, it was Lancer mags, it was Black Dog mags, and PMC ammo. So at that time, the market went sky high, and then the summer after Obama got elected, things really slowed down a lot. And so we had a ton of cash, so we had made good money for about 5-6 months. And we had people calling us up, hey, I have an overstock on this mag, I have an overstock on this ammo, do you want it? So we started getting deals. So we used the cash that we made, we turned around and started getting deals. So DS Arms out of Illinois called us up and said, hey, we have a bunch of it was a really weird magazine. It's called a Fusel magazine. It was made out of steel and it was overpriced. And the guy goes, I have a whole pallet of these things. Would you be interested? And I said, sure, and I gave him a really low price. He's like, okay, you know what, that's fine. So we got them in, we put them on the website, we put them up for sale, and they sold. And one of the boxes happened to be a box of buffer tubes from DS Arms. And so we opened it, we're like, this isn't Fusel mags, this is buffer tubes. And he said, you know what, just go ahead and keep them, don't send them back. So we put that on the website, and they sold out in a day. And we're like, okay, that's weird. So we started buying more. We said, okay, we'll buy a box. Put them on the website, 50% margin, they sold out. I'm like, okay. So Jonathan, who still works for us, is our first employee ever. Keep in mind, we're still in my garage. He's like, why don't we buy more AR parts? So we called up DS Arms and said, what else can we buy? And so we bought buffers and buffer tubes and castle nuts and springs, and we just kept adding it up onto the website, and it was selling out. And then we started thinking about, we're like, I don't think, you know, whatever company it is, or DS Arms, or any of the people we originally bought from, like, I don't think these people actually make this. Let's try and figure out who's actually making it. So we found some of the big names that people are actually making it, and we were able to get a little bit better margin. And then we're sitting there, I was looking at all the pieces and parts, and I was like, what if we put this together as kits and sold it even cheaper, but got more money per sale? So we started playing with kits, and it just kind of started growing. People were buying the lower build kits, the parts kits, everything, but we didn't have any way to make a barrel. First of all, we were just buying parts at that time and assembly, but we didn't have anywhere to buy a barrel from. About that time, when the kit business was growing pretty big, we had an employee, I don't even remember his name, but he worked at FN, and his nickname was Chuck Norris. And he worked full-time at FN, and he worked in the evenings for us. And I was leaving work, and this is at the original Faro Road store, which it's shut down, it's moved now, but this was our first store. And he just made the comment, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to need to get a full-time job. And I asked him why. He said, well, FN lost the military contract. I don't know the full details of it, but that was a comment he made. I said, you know what? If we had a barrel, we could probably make a complete PSA gun, and we could start actually having a PSA rifle. And he said, yeah, but you know, FN's pretty big, and they would want a big, huge commitment. And he said, well, you know what? My boss, he shops here a lot. The next time he's in, I'll mention it to him. I was like, okay, that would be cool. So the next day, Chuck Norris was working behind the counter. I went to leave and walked by him again on the way out, and his boss was standing right there. Jean-Pierre was his name. And he was a Belgian that was one of the senior guys at FN. And he introduced us, and I said, hey, you know, would love to buy some FN barrels. And he's like, well, that's not something we normally do. And he set up a meeting. I was like, perfect. So we went over there, and the barrel was the missing element in what we were trying to make. And we had to agree to buy very large amounts. I remember being so nervous with the quantities. Can't give away the exact quantities, but if we're going to get pricing that was competitive, we had to get huge amounts. And they started shipping them. We put them together, and you know, I thought we'd sell maybe 5, 10, 20 a day. We started selling 50, 60, 70 a day. It was absolutely insane, the amount. And fast forward to now, we make anywhere from 1,300 to 1,500 uppers per day. Everything has totally changed. We went from buying, say, a flash hider from someone else who makes it. We make that from solid bar stock. All of our rails, we make those ourselves. Our barrels, we turn the barrels from solid stock. The barrel extension, we make it ourselves. Yesterday, I spent $1.7 million on an anodizing line. Not only are we going to make it, but we're going to coat everything ourselves. There's 8 years between that time when I started buying from FN and what we're doing now. A lot's changed, but one thing hasn't changed, and that's our commitment to quality. We want to get the highest quality product for the best price as possible. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, you could make more, you could sell it for more. Really, my goal the entire time in this has been to spread the most amount of freedom that we can. Hey guys, hey, I can't. Can you pause or whatever?